I am back and I am here to talk about Demarcus Robinson. Here he is lined up in the slot, fresh off of a career year in receiving yards with the Rams. So he had a career high in receiving yards despite having other seasons where he had 14 and 17 more targets. So that's kind of what I want to talk to him, just to give an idea of how the 49ers are going to use him. So by doing that, I'm going to show all of his targets from 2024 against the NFC West teams because, right, that's what we really care about. So Robinson probably will, just write a giant asterisk. He's probably going to be suspended for a DUI back in 2024, but still, the 49ers didn't bring Demarcus Robinson in to make a difference in September. They brought him in to make a difference, like when it counts, right? October, November, and obviously once we get to December and in the playoffs. So let's talk about Demarcus Robinson because here you see him lined up in the slot on the first play. We just showed Robinson in the slot. Here he is on the bottom of the screen. Condensed formations, which the Rams and the 49ers, they have a lot of overlap in their offensive structure, offensive systems. And on third down, on the very first third down, we're going to see Robinson to the top of the screen run a curl route, run a quick curl route on third and short. So I want to show you all these plays, all these targets to see the usage, to give you an expectation of, okay, is Robinson a deep threat? Is he going to be used underneath? How will he be used across the middle? So let's get into that, and we'll start right here on the very first route here. So let's fast forward. So 3rd and 2, very top of the screen here. Press coverage, very short route, outside release, creates separation. Stafford puts the ball outside, and they're able to move the stick. So again, I think let's use Juwan Jennings, for example. So cornerbacks tend to sit on his routes. Why? Because they don't trust that he can beat them vertical. He is so quick that he's still able to gain separation. I think it's important for a veteran like Robinson here again to the top to be able to gain this separation. That is a lot of separation, which was a big talking point for 49ers wide receivers last year because according to some metrics, it's an area where they struggled. So that's just one target, but let's find out who Demarcus Robinson is and what the 49ers are getting in him. That last target actually was overturned for an incomplete pass, but I do find it interesting that on the very first throw of the Rams game in a divisional matchup with Cooper Kupp, that they decided to go to Demarcus Robinson. Here he is to the slot to the top of the screen. So the Rams are going to try to have a shot play, gets covered up well. Stafford is going to face some pressure, and then he's going to just direct Robinson to an area, and he's able to find separation, make a catch. But I mean, it's really a bad play by the DB who is Budda Baker, who's a stud. And honestly, it's just Stafford being Stafford. He's on the 20-yard line. So what? A flat foot throw 53 yards down the field with somebody in your face. That's as good as it gets. So, I mean, we're showing all the targets. We're showing all the plays, but scramble drill Robinson, I don't know how sustainable that is. It's definitely not within the structure of the offense. I think it's more of a wow throw by Stafford, who I don't know if people feel the same way I do about him. I think he's a top 5 quarterback. We can save that argument for another day, though. Okay, so this is right before the half. Here's Robinson to the top of the screen in the slot. And if you recall last season, 49ers, their wide receivers really struggled in the red zone. Juwan Jennings was not effective. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk wasn't in the picture. So no Jennings, no Ayuk. That just meant George Kittle was their only reliable receiver who at least had experience, right? We're not going to really grade Ricky Pearsall after everything that he went to last season. So all that's just to say Demarcus Robinson has experience winning in the red zone. Here he is. It's a nice concept here by McVay. So outside receiver is going to run an out route. Robinson's going to run to the corner. I like the release. He sells like he's going inside and plants really hard there. To me, he's open right now. I feel like that is pass interference. Like you can't grab the wide receiver, so obviously that impedes some of his progress. But he has a step. Ball's only where he could get it, but he can't get there. So incomplete pass. Still, like this is an area where I feel like Robinson can really help the 49ers and just having a bigger target. So he's 6'1". Right, like they're probably going to be relying on Jacob Cowing, not so much in the red area. So this is where a guy like Robinson can help make a difference. Ideally, Brock puts the ball in a better spot than Stafford here. You'd rather be safe than sorry, but that just kind of shows you the margin for error that you have in the red zone. Like if it's not perfect, it's an incomplete pass. But again, like the routes that he can run, the routes that he can win. And we just saw it right there with Robinson. All right, this is the final target of this game for Robinson. He's the lone wide receiver to the bottom of the screen here. And he's just going to run a curl route just by design. My only critique here would be catch and get upfield right away. So he doesn't, and he's a yard short of the first down marker. So, like, who knows if you're able to convert on 3rd and 1. Like, that's on the wide receiver. Just catch it, get upfield right away, move the sticks, keep it simple. But, I mean, there's not much to take away here, right? This is open by scheme. Rams are at home against the 49ers, against the vaunted Nick Sorensen defense. So Robinson is to the bottom of the screen here. He's in a condensed split. He's just going to run a crossing route. This play actually doesn't count. It was called back because Sean McVay decided to use a tight end to block Nick Bosa, and that did not work out. But again, it's just a crossing route. It's kind of interesting to see how many of these jerseys just won't be on the field for the team in red, scarlet next year. So I guess in a month from now anyway, but it's a crossing route. There's some miscommunication, and that's really how Robinson gets open. If you're watching Warner after the play, so right here, Campbell is communicating, hey, 15, underneath. It's cover 3. Clearly it's cover 3, right? So 2, nickelback right here, he should take the crossing route, which is Robinson. Warner, who has the tight end, he sees that, all right, Lenore doesn't see that, so he comes off it and knows that Stafford's probably going to go underneath. After the fact, Warner looks at Lenore and is like, hey, man, right here. Like, hey, you, right here. That's you. But, again, there's just so much. There's always so much going on in the play that you can miss. That's why it's nice to have it slow down here. There's the hold on Bosa. I think you just kind of understand the speed of Robinson and that you only run crossing routes with guys who are either fast or can run after the catch. So let's get into some of his other targets that actually counted in this game. All right, I still have no idea how they lost this game. I mean, I know how they lost this game, but when you're up 14-0, 21-7, 24-14, have an opportunity to win the game on a final kick against a division opponent on the road, just cannot happen. But bottom of the screen here, right before the half, Demarcus Robinson against All-Pro Mooney Ward. He's going to run it out and up. It's a really good route. So out, sells it, gets back inside, leaves some laundry on the field. Man, that is an impressive route. And you can see that Ward almost respects it. Like, this is toward the end of the half, right? The only thing you can't do is let him behind you, and sure enough, that happens. But again, we're just seeing different sides of Robinson, different routes of Robinson, different routes and speed, just the different things that he can bring to the playbook. So it's nice to know that, double moves are a thing. This should be a touchdown, but obviously it didn't work out, thankfully for the 49ers. But again, just another angle of Robinson that you get to see. I want to see, did Stafford get hit or what happened here? No, he just airmailed it. Yeah, that should be a touchdown. All right, next target here is Robinson to the top of the screen here. And it is just a play action staple that's in McVay and Shanahan's offense. They're going to try to vacate. Basically, what they're going to try to do is take some cheese, get the linebackers to suck up, wide receiver right there, easy pickings. So, I mean, ideally, this season, whether it's Nick Martin, D. Winters, their linebacker, the linebacker replacing him right here is guarding nobody. So, like, Warner has the 2 wide receivers coming out. So, like, he has to hold. There's nobody keeping 59 from guarding anybody. And if you look at the free safety, there's nobody preventing him from coming underneath and taking this underneath route. So it almost looks like an inverted coverage, but still, whether it's Talanoa or whether it's Devondre Campbell, they're not guarding anybody. This is where you just need to relate to somebody. Again, like, there's a reason these players were let go. Obviously, there are a ton of reasons for both, but this play is a good example where they're just caught in no man's land, and then Robinson makes the catch afterward. Tufunga misses the tackle, and I mean, it's an explosive play for Robinson, who doesn't really do much, but again, just right place, right time, and you always will give a wide receiver credit for breaking a tackle. On the very next play, we see some trickeration from McVay. They're going to hand it to Tutu Atwell, stock block to the top where Robinson one-on-one with Jair Brown. Ref rules him that he gets 2 feet in, but it was overturned on the challenge. But I think we're just seeing, all right, remember the different aspects of what Robinson can bring. Maybe there are opportunities for a back shoulder fade. Maybe there are opportunities for like a 50-50 ball like this where he can win. He just comes down out of bounds. But I think the opportunity is greater than the incomplete pass, and that's what you want to see. So I think that is pretty promising to know that he's capable of, timing his jump, shielding off the defender, coming down. You just want to make sure you get both feet. I don't remember if it was a feet issue or like what happened here, but what happens here? One. I'll never be able to see that. Incomplete. Okay, we have Robinson to the bottom of the screen here. This is somewhat of a meaningless target. So it's 3rd and 15. I wouldn't say meaningless, but 3rd and 15. And he's just going to run an out route. Obviously, the 49ers, as you can see, they have a very soft shell, so they're going to let anything underneath. I don't think he gets his feet down. Yeah. Just lack of concentration there. Doesn't really matter. They end up kicking a field goal. So this will be the last one we show from the game. I did forget about the punt return after this. So the Rams end up scoring. 49ers punt. Mitch Wisnowski punts, and they give up just a long return that pretty much ices the game. So many blunders in this one. Again, so many players who were just not going to be on the field. But, so I think, is that ball just inaccurate? No, it just missed times. I don't know. That's strange. Regardless, I can imagine this is the last game that Shanahan and company would want to revisit. We jump ahead to week 9 where Robinson had the game of the season. So he caught 6 of 9 targets for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. And this is the first target. So again, I think it's always find it interesting that, so this is the first 3rd down of the game, and they target Robinson and not the person next to him, Kupp. So bottom of the screen here, condensed split. Eventually he's going to be the outside receiver. So it's solo, right? And he's just going to run a dig route, an in-breaking route. And he gets very good separation. I have no idea what happens at the end of the play. I don't know if it's just kind of alligator arms, just doesn't think he can get there, but we'll see a better angle from the end zone view. Still, I think the separation at the top, like that's what we're really focusing on here, right? So press coverage, gets inside leverage right there, and then like that is NFL open right there, right? He has 2 steps on the DB out of his break. Wide open, should be an easy completion. We'll see it from this angle here. Again, I don't know what happens. I can't explain why this isn't a completion. I don't think the ball gets tipped. But we're going to talk about Robinson a lot in this game. Like right there, right? That should be easy catch, right? Easy catch and run. But no. How do you explain that? What, is it a lack of effort? I don't know. That's very strange to me, but that would not be the final target of this game for Robinson. All right, Robinson, quote unquote, makes up for it on this play. So top of the screen, he's the number 3 wide receiver, so closest to us, closest wide receiver to the formation. You have Nakua, you have Kupp, and then you have Robinson. So it's another 3rd down. And he, right there, if you watch him coming off the line of scrimmage, it almost, he almost acts like he's expecting somebody to be closer to him. He's expecting somebody to press him. And he realizes, nope, don't have to do any kind of gimmick off the line. And this is a contested catch. It's a really nice catch. It's a difficult catch. So how does he make this, but not the last one? Regardless, the Rams are able to move the chains. And, you get another feel for like what Robinson can bring to the table, and that's making the difficult catch here. We'll get a better angle here to see him make this over-the-shoulder grab. Still think it's interesting that, back-to-back plays on 3rd down, they go to Robinson. Great catch right there. Nothing crazy here. So Robinson is the wide receiver to the bottom of the screen, and he's just going to run a shallow cross. Really all he needs to do here is outrun that linebacker 13, and he does. So he makes the catch, holds on to the ball, 13-yard gain. Easy peasy. We'll see it from here. You can kind of see his acceleration here, and 13 is definitely not a bad player. It's Ernest Jones. But he has a step. Hold on to the ball is really all that matters here. And this is the value of speed, so skip ahead to the 3rd quarter. Robinson is, again, the lone receiver to the bottom of the screen. He is eventually going to get freed up because of that little cluster. Seattle gets a little confused. So right here, he's on Devin Witherspoon. Like, this is their top 5. Best cornerback, probably best defensive player. And then he just runs away from him. Easy for me to say. But you can see the separation there. Like that is, I believe Witherspoon ran like a 4.45. And like that's easy separation, 21-yard gain. Ideally, he keeps his feet, and is able to maybe turn upfield and turn to 30-yard gain. But who knows? Still, regardless, we see the element of speed, and I think that is important because when you can threaten multiple levels of the field, especially with how many crossing routes, 49ers run an insane amount of crossing routes. So like this is as 49ers route as it gets. How about that throw though? Under pressure, somebody in your face. That's what you want. Okay, Rams just tried to run it a couple of times, could not get the ball in the end zone. Again, one of the most impressive things I've seen from Robinson just watching his targets here is his ability to create separation in tight quarters, right, in close quarters in the red zone, and that's what the 49ers need. So he had 10 targets in the red zone last season, caught 5 of them, and each of those were for touchdowns. Here he is. Watch the separation he creates to the bottom of the screen here. On just what? 2 steps? 1 step. My mistake. 1 step. Good night. And this is very transferable, right? Like any coach would add this to their playbook. Yeah, that is impressive. That's what you want. That makes life a lot easier, especially if you're struggling to run the ball like the Rams were here. So DB overreacts to that 1 step, and Robinson, easy touchdown. So starts to drive an explosive play, finishes it with a touchdown. Can't ask for much more than that. All right, here's a 1-yard reception, and this is where Seattle's Witherspoon really shines, open field tackling. Always has since his days back in college. So Robinson's the lone wide out to the bottom of the screen, going to run a shallow cross. He's going to have an opportunity to make something happen in the open field. And I think what we're seeing here is just some indecisiveness, right? Like I don't think he knows what to do, and obviously it's pretty evident that that's just not his strength. Something, or just making things happen, creating once the ball is in his hands. So keep that in mind as we're watching throughout the season. Like he's a speedy guy. He's going to win before the ball's in his hands, and evidently not so much once the ball's in his hands, which is fine, right? And they're not paying him to do that, right? If he just does what he does in the red zone, if he's able to run away from people 20 yards down the field, this won't matter as much. So I assume they're going to use him at the intermediate level, at the deeper level, not so much on these shallow crosses. All right, we have another 3rd down target for Robinson. He is in the slot here to the top of the screen. It's essentially the same concept as the very first play. We're just running an in-breaker route after they're going to clear the middle for him, and he creates separation. But once again, just doesn't hold on to the ball. So there's the separation right there. Like he's open, but they ruled that the ball hit the ground. I think we'll be able to see it from the end zone angle. Again, like these are ones that he has to catch. These are ones that, it's the difference between your offense staying on the field, being able to put points on the board. Like that's an insane amount of separation. Like he made the DB fall, but yeah, you can see it kind of hit the ground there. We'll get another angle here where like he's very good out of the top of his breaks, which is a great thing for a wide receiver. I think that's one of the most important aspects, honestly. But whatever reason, yeah, okay, the ball just kind of one-hops him, so it's really not even that much his fault. Yeah, Stafford gets hit. Still, he's open. It's 3rd down, and he's getting the ball on 3rd down. I think those are what we're paying attention to. Okay, 2020 game, 51 seconds left. We have Robinson here to the bottom, isolated receiver, and this is what Shanahan just calls like a wide and go. Usually that is from a tighter split, but just run by him, right? Win with speed. And here is Robinson, uses his hands, gets a late push, and that's obviously a pass interference. You see the flag there. Still is able to make good concentration to make the catch. He's not going to be able to get his feet inbounds because he was pushed, but drew a flag, and that's going to put the Rams in a great position to put points on the board. So that is a positive despite not being a reception. Another wide and go slot fade type here is to the top of the screen. He's the number 2 wide receiver on the line of scrimmage. So again, game's on the line, and they're going to Robinson. Obviously, a very low percentage throw. He has a step. It's in his hands, but he just gets blasted. That's tough. As you can see, though, helmet to helmet. Another penalty that he draws. Let's see if he has a chance to catch this. Where's it at? Okay, I mean, that's a perfect throw. But, yeah. Okay, so he has a step, and that's what we want to see run by Withers, or gets a step on a top 5 pick, right? Like their best player. And just gets some tough head-to-head contact, but 2 penalties in 1 drive. Can't beat that. All right, overtime. It is 2nd and 6, I believe. Robinson is the slot receiver to the bottom. He's going to end up being the number 1 receiver after the motion. Is the cornerback looking in the back? Like, how does this happen? How do you lose a wide receiver? Regardless, Robinson gets open, has a step. He's going to win that race every time. Ball's a little bit underthrown. I don't know if it's because he's slowed down or what, but I think he's just judging the path and the fly of the ball. Shields the DB, makes a one-handed catch. Rams win. I don't know what else I need to say after that, right? He made the freaking game-winning touchdown. He also had a couple plays where he drew penalties to put them in a position to score. He had a couple other explosive plays. This is probably peak Demarcus Robinson. If 49ers get anything like this from him, even if they have one game where he has 90 yards and a touchdown or 2, it would be worth signing him to a 2-year, $8 million deal. So as good as it gets here from 15 there. Okay, so that's all for Demarcus Robinson. The last game against 49ers, he had 1 target. Another game against the Cardinals, he had 2 targets. In the final game against Seattle, their quarterback the Rams quarterback was Jimmy Garoppolo. So nothing really to take from the other NFC West games, but you get an opportunity to see like what he's going to bring to the table, right? A guy who could run by people, which is important, and he can do so on the 3rd level, like you see in this play. He can also do so at the intermediate level, and I think that's where he can really help the 49ers. So that's all for me. I'm going to just keep doing random players as we get closer and closer to training camp. Thanks for watching. Please again, like, subscribe, comment. I will be back. I don't know with who. I know I said Renardo Green. I really do want to do Renardo Green, but the NFL does not make it easy to cut up all these clips. So thanks again for watching, everybody.